Welcome to the technical problems.
Yes. My friend Michael Mack said we should make the technical problems part of the show.
Well, now we have no choice.
Yeah, but I didn't quite do that. But now we.
That's the key to improvisation. It's just like whatever happens is like bring it in.
I didn't. I was a little concerned. But.
So what is the technical problem, in fact?
The technical problem was that, unfortunately, this isn't recording.
This is a DVD deck that he's referring to.
Yep.
We like to record our shows just to have them for posterity's sake.
Oh,
that's been recorded on.
That is why.
Well, let's just wing it. Let's just.
Oh, I so carefully picked that out.
We're falling apart, and the show hasn't even started
No, this
yet.
is part of it now. This is part. And what do we have here? Aha. Oh, that's what the show was called, Aha. You wouldn't realize that. See, I'm doing what you've taught me.
What have I taught you?
Now
I'm scared. What have I taught you?
This is part of the show. I'm enjoying this confusion, this incompetence, this impotence. It wasn't quite impotent. I found out what the reason was, thanks to you.
Oh.
Yes. So this might be the best part of the show.
It goes downhill from here.
How to handle.
We don't even know which show this is.
I do.
Okay, introduce it. It's your show.
Yeah, I know. You're the great introducer.
Yeah, but this is your show. This is Aha.
Yes.
This is a human among humans.
Yes.
Aha.
How are we doing as being humans today? How would we rate ourselves?
Oh, we're being very human. Very human today.
So you've got humanity here, folks. We're not lying to you. And okay, I'm going to do this again, and this time it works. Wow. Hello.
We're recording.
Hello. Welcome to the God Talk, guys. This is, and my friend, my wonderful neighbor, Michael Ray, said we should call this Mack and Mac.
Mack and Mac, the God Talk guys.
Yes.
Is that echoing in anybody's echo chamber? Does that sound like anything you might have heard before?
Oh, wow. So, now I'm not going to segue without a segue.
So, what do we have on deck tonight? This is your show, and this is your topic. What do you want to cover?
Pentecost is coming.
Pentecost is coming. I just learned from you what Pentecost means. Could you give us the backstory on Pentecost?
I have this right now. After the Hebrew slave...
Well, first let's say what Pentecost is.
Yes.
So Pentecost in the Christian tradition is that very special. It was the formation of the church, is the way that Christians look back on it. This was the day that the church was formed.
Catholics too, right?
Catholics too. And what happened on Pentecost, and this is a preview of what's to come here in 2 or 3 weeks, I guess. What happened on Pentecost is that a bunch of disciples of Jesus, after he was resurrected and ascended into heaven, his disciples are gathered in the upper room, and they are having some kind of meeting, some kind of gathering. And while they are doing so, the Spirit descends, fire from heaven, and tongues of fire appear on the heads of the disciples. And they start, I believe that was the first time that I don't know if it was in that room or later that day, but that's where they started speaking in tongues, glossalia.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Feels good.
And also what happened was the first interpreting of tongues. So I could interpret what Michael just said.
It was wonderful. I went to this Pentecostal weekend, and sometimes you have trouble saying hello to people, like always.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was this. We could try this from now on forever, you and I, if we write this down. We can
watch it, buddy. This is coming off of a very heavy conversation that Michael and I just had. Something that I was hoping we could leave out the door. Maybe it's going to inform this. I don't know.
Well,
but
the hard question is, to what degree do you need to write down?
I'm not touching this. I'm backing away.
What?
This is your show now.
No, I
It's
was
your
just going
show.
to ask our audience.
Just keep going.
To what degree?
It's all yours.
To
man.
what degree? When you find people close to you are missing, do you think it might be something you've said or about to say?
To answer your question, it was something that you said.
Or does
It was something
No,
that
it's
you
not
said.
even what I'm about to say. I am going to pass. I'm not
Thank
going to
you.
say any more because
Thank
I'm a
you.
sensitive person. I get cues. Sometimes they have to be obvious.
Yes, I will write it down if you need to see it.
So, Pentecost.
So that was the birthday of the church. Tongues of fire appearing on the head of the apostles, speaking in tongues and interpreting tongues.
Now, I thought it happened in a big, because it's a Jewish holiday. It's a celebration.
Well, that's the backstory that I was going to
Yes.
ask you for. But just to finish what it is in the Christian tradition,
Yes.
is that it started in the upper room. Selected
Are you
apostles.
sure about that? It didn't start outside?
Pretty dang sure.
So that doesn't sound entirely
Upper room.
sure, does it, folks?
Tongues of fire, whooshing, roaring sound,
Yes.
like a jet engine.
Yes, I think it happened outside, and I could well be wrong.
I think that
I think I'm
we'll
wrong.
have to go to
No, I think I have booked
the source.
We could spend the rest of the show fascinating you by looking up this and
Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that now while I am
no, this is. I
proclaiming?
mean, you can wait. You can hear Michael proclaim in another 24 minutes. It's going to be his show, and we will sit. In order to remind ourselves, in case we forget, we change seats.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So this
But
is this
point
is-
being, so I think what happened, I think it started in the upper room, and they were fired by the Spirit. They went out into the streets.
Yes.
They took it to the streets.
could be.
Look it up. We're all look it up.
Wow. Hi there.
So we're looking in
Now the
Acts.
Jewish holiday
Yeah.
is Shavuos, which means 7, and Pentecost is 50, because it's 50 days after Passover. It's 7 weeks after Passover for.
What is this?
This is the New Testament.
This is barely the New Testament. What am I looking at here?
This is like. Would you like it if something?
Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Mary, Gospel of Judas.
It's restored. Is it restored?
I can see that. This is the restored New Testament,
Yes.
and I got nothing against it, but
Yes.
I was expecting to go in here and find Acts right after John, and what is this? What is this?
Here it is, activities of the messengers. You did it by nature.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, keep going with your explanations so that
Yes.
we don't lose people. Not that we haven't already lost everybody.
And where were we? Oh, yes. So Shavuos is a holiday. It celebrates, as best as I remember, the first harvest, as well as Moshe coming down from Mount Sinai with the Ten Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
He's
I've got it. I've got it.
He was way more interested in getting it than listening to me. But you have friends like this too, don't you?
Once again, you are walking
Oh,
a tight line.
I thought this was Click and Clack, Mack and Mac.
Okay.
Okay.
So we could actually, all right. So here it is. It's the beginning of chapter 2 of the book of Acts.
Yeah.
Now, when the feast day of Shavuot,
Shavuot. Just what I
came.
said. Just-
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just echoing what you said. That's all I'm here to do is echo what you say. This is your show.
Can you congratulate me for getting it right?
Thank you for getting it right.
No, don't mention it.
They were, okay, so this is what it says. They were all together in one place.
Yes. Aha.
Okay. Suddenly there came a sound in the sky like the blowing of a great wind, and it filled the whole house where they were sitting. So it is in a house.
Oh, you were right again.
I was right and you were right.
No, you were righter, for sure.
There appeared to them divided tongues of fire, and a separate flame settled on each side of them, and they were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance.
Having trouble learning, this is probably blasphemous, having trouble learning another language? Like trouble learning Spanish or could be a very wonderful way to learn. They were speaking.
So that's where it started. It started in a house.
Yes, yes. So
It doesn't say an upper room.
No.
I don't know where upper room came from. Is that, maybe that was the, maybe the upper room was,
That was for the Passover.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So, well, shall I continue?
Whatever you like.
Okay. Now there were devout Jews living in Jerusalem from all nations under the skies. And at the sound of these voices, and at the sound of these voices, the speaking in tongues, the crowd came together, and they were confused because each one heard them speaking in his or her own language.
So somehow, that's why I thought it was outside. Somehow
It seems to migrate from the house to outside.
They might have
Yeah.
been just so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yes.
spilled out onto the street. That's
Yeah.
we're guessing. That's all.
Yes.
They were amazed and marveled, saying, "Look, are all these non-Galilean speakers? And how is it that we hear each speaking in the language to which we were born?" And there are a bunch of different names of places. And they were all astonished and perplexed, saying to one another, "What can this mean?" But others scoffed and said, they're drunk on new sweet wine." So, I don't think, I think that's all we get in terms of place.
That's enough. Well, more than enough.
I think that's it.
Yes.
We start in a house, and then it seems to move outside.
Yes.
So if we do nothing else today, the God Talk guys at least have resolved this issue.
Yes. What
Have-
might have been pressing you.
Pentecost
Yeah.
starts in a house
Yes.
and seems to move
And
outside.
the holiday, Shavuot,
Yeah.
is we brought the connection.
Did you explain to them while I was looking up? Did you explain where Shavuos?
Yes, words that I'm sure were unforgettable to anyone
Well,
sitting
I
next.
can't listen and
I
read
knew
at the
that, I
same
knew that,
time.
yes.
Have you ever tried going into a music store and the music's playing in the background and you're trying like crazy to remember the tune that you want to buy, but you can't because the music's playing? It's the same thing.
Okay. You see, he's such beautiful analogies. It's hard to argue with him. If you just said, "Have you ever been reading?"
I can never tell if he's serious or not.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Because some people,
I can never tell if he's serious or
'cause
not.
some people are heavy with their seriousness, right? Or frivolous with their humor.
Some might argue, oh, what just happened? Lever. I pulled the lever. Next.
See,
Next topic.
See, you can tell a polished performer, he can start a sentence and forget it and then just keep going. Next. That is a great attitude. That is a...
So what do you got for us? What do you got for us today? This is your show.
Yes, but half of it's gone already.
Hurry up.
Well,
Hurry up.
I didn't first tell you that Moses came down from Sinai
Yeah.
with the Ten Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
This was the holiday celebrating that. So it's very similar. Shavuos, yes.
Shavuos.
Yes. So it's very, and we have all kinds of plants because there's also the harvest festival, first harvest.
Oh, first harvest. So what is being harvested in the first harvest? Is it
In
like
spring,
tomatoes or?
I don't remember. I think we have what's called a lulav, which is a certain like a palm, really. It's and we use it on this, and a lemon, maybe lemons. So I think a lemon. It's called an estrog, if I remember correctly. I worked in Israel and picked lemons off trees.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed? Did you know
So lemons come first?
lemons came from trees? I didn't know these things, and I feel them, and they're pretty, and hold them in my hands.
My best guess is that limes also come from trees.
You don't think that, though, right? Limes seem to be, and dates, all kinds of things. Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
And I.
Who knew that the God Talk guys was an agricultural show?
Yes, that was a great experience. Anyway, so Christianity takes, and the Jews could have also taken the early harvest festival and connected it with an historical event Jews, that's what our holidays do, and connected it with Moses coming down from Sinai. So there's probably first what's called the pagan or the people's religion, celebrating the harvest. There's May Day, which is a certain celebration like that also. So this was a May Day. And so we could ask a lot of what's the difference between receiving the law, what a huge difference, receiving the law of Moses versus being filled with the Holy Spirit and speaking strange languages that maybe you didn't understand, but other people did.
I would like to make a connection, if I may.
Yes.
And the connection that I would like to make is from the tongues of fire to Moses in the burning bush.
Yes.
To Richard Maurice Buck from the last century, who wrote Cosmic Consciousness, and draw that same thread to, I just blanked on her name, so help me remember this author's name. Contemporary author. She just finished she wrote a Nickel and Dimed, Barbara Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
Okay, so she just wrote a book that I ordered from the library. I'm hoping to get sometime soon. But she's been a lifelong atheist, and yet she had this experience when she was a teenager or a young woman of what you might call cosmic consciousness, what you might call divine. Well, she would have a different language for it, and so I'm looking forward to reading her book, to learning what her language is. At the time, she thought, when her mind was suddenly and irrevocably expanded, she thought that she was having a psychotic episode. And maybe she's thought about it that way for many years, I don't know. But the way that she described it in the interview that I heard with her on Tavis Smiley sounded strikingly like the way that Richard Maurice Buck described his experience of what he called cosmic consciousness, which sounds strikingly similar to the tongues of fire and the burning bush, because what they have all been describing has been this awakening in which they are filled with. So I just read, just today, in fact, the description by Richard Maurice Buck, where he talked about how, as he was, I believe he was riding home in a carriage, and suddenly it was though he thought that the world around him was on fire.
Wow.
It was just for a moment.
Wow.
He thought that the world was on fire, and then he realized that it was not around him, that it was in him. And in those few moments, it was very brief, but it was life-changing, and he spent the rest of his life writing about it, thinking about it, and developing his ideas about what it meant. He said more was revealed to him in that quick moment. More was revealed to him than about the nature of things, about the essential and ultimate nature of things. More was revealed to him than he could possibly say. That it was a moment of exultation, he said, when he came to realize in an instant that we are all safe, that we will not die, that we are all part of this great and loving purpose that has all of our best interests at heart. And it was just for a moment, and it just came out of nowhere through flames. And so I can't help but think of, it sounded like Barbara Ehrenreich's experience was similar. It was fire. She was talking about fire. Or Moses in the burning bush. You know, being in this holy place, this momentary holy place where it seemed like things were on fire. And of course, Pentecost, tongues of fire on people's heads. You just can't help but wonder. You just can't help but wonder. And what Barbara Ehrenreich said was, it was something so, it was so magnificent, it was so powerful that it was frightening. It was too much. and it was sort of like, I mean, I think she might have said that she had never done LSD or anything like that, but she imagined that it might be like that it was where your mind just opens up to receive beyond anything that you had ever known. So I haven't had that experience.
But the show isn't over yet.
You're right. It's not over yet.
Yes, we have 7 minutes of this show and then your whole show.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Well, this is Mother's Day, so we might have a little focus on mothers.
On your show, yes.
On my show.
Yes.
But not for your show.
Well, maybe if we're talking about light, though, and
light.
Fire. Firelight. My father was a fireman.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always been, and it seems in these biblical stories, that it's not just the light. It's the fire and light are the same experience, the same phenomenon. The bush was burning, just didn't consume, but it was really a burning bush. It wasn't just he saw the light.
Mm-hmm.
So we are, of course, if scientists tell us, made out of firelight. We're made out of the burning gases that were Mother Earth. This Mother Earth was once a big, fiery gas. And then it condensed, it was once dust, and then the dust came together and it turned into fire. And then out of that fire, when it was cooling, we got Michael Mack.
We're just a few blocks away from MIT.
Yes.
I am not going to comment on all of the things you just said.
Oh, really? No, you can't.
I have no comment at all.
I need to hear if I'm wrong. I love being wrong.
This is my understanding.
Yes.
You know what? Okay, what the heck? Why not? This is my understanding.
Yes.
So our solar system started out as this composition of dust and gravity and I don't think that our solar system is relatively young, I think, in comparison
Yes.
with the universe.
Maybe,
is that right?
Maybe middle-aged.
Middle-aged, okay. So,
You.
thank you, grandfather.
Yes, thank you.
So it was an agglomeration of gases and dust and at some point started
Burning. Yes. Coalescing and burning.
coalescing.
Yes.
But I think that the burning came when it started getting really, really dense.
Yes.
And started. So I imagine it started with one little point of dust.
Yes.
And the little point of dust sort of drew another point of dust.
Yes.
And next thing you know, you've got a bunch of points of dust. You got a little clot of dust.
Or dancing dust. if you
Dancing
like.
dust.
If you want. Yes, they probably weren't. They were probably.
MIT.
Yes, they were.
MIT dancing dust over here.
They were probably back and forth, and like particles, but eventually it became a fire.
It became a fire, I think, because the weight of it and the gravity of it, I mean, I think that's how the sun started.
Yep.
It was this giant ball of gas and dust, and there was so much of it that it was compressing, until
Like sticks rubbing together, turning into fire.
more, even more than that. I mean,
Yep.
it's imagine. Oh, I can't come up with an instant metaphor on this one. I'm falling apart over here.
You're doing
Falling
fine.
apart with 3 minutes
You're doing
left.
very well. Very beautiful. So that we're made out of Mother Earth, which was once fire and light. And so when people, as well as the cosmos itself with the Big Bang, was an extremely fire-light explosion.
That's what. Yeah, that's
Yes.
what is suggested.
Yes, or in some ways proven.
And here's proven.
Yes, they have.
I don't think so. Were you there?
We are.
Actually, we were there.
there.
We were there.
We're made out of that stuff.
Yeah.
All of us. You were there too. So if we're made out of that stuff, we are co-creating the cosmos together. And, and you might have trouble with your mind, but it was there too, promise. But it's certainly our bodies are the material in our bodies, and the material that makes our minds work was all there. It came from that singularity exploding. So when we discover who we really are, we discover we're made out of firelight.
Well, we're made of matter and energy. I think that's what a physicist would say. We are composed of matter and energy, and what Einstein, I believe it was Einstein, arrived at was that matter, and you don't lose matter or energy.
No, they're
energy can be converted to matter.
Yes.
Matter can be converted to energy, and there's no loss.
And fire is an energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but this matter and energy is burning when it's the Big Bang. Well, I
Yeah.
like to call it the Big Blossom.
Yeah. Well, they used to think that it started with the Big Bang,
Yeah.
and the universe expand, and then gravity pulls everything back.
Now they're not sure. No.
Now they're not sure. In fact, it's looking like
We just keep expanding,
accelerating.
and we don't even.
It's getting faster and
and
faster.
we don't even know what we're accelerating into. It doesn't quite make sense to us, but.
Yeah.
I love that the basic constituents, when you start thinking about it, like where did the Big Bang come from?
It's like this show. It just it's falling apart right before your very
we're
eyes.
coalescing
Even
into
as it
great,
comes
great
together, it's
meaning.
falling apart.
And so,
We've got 30 seconds to say goodbye.
no, I'm still with.
You're expanding and
I'm
expanding and
expanding.
expanding. Expanding universe right here.
Reach.
Reach.
He's coming with me, and you can feel the light. Feel the light, the warmth,
Look at the end of the tunnel.
the love. It's the light love. Stay tuned to Michael Max.
We've got 5 seconds to say goodbye.
Much fire and light to all of us.